Hello Year 9s, Mrs Smith here. Sorry we can't be with you together in the new food room, but so you don't miss out, I'm going to bring the classroom into your homes by my kitchen, my little kitchen. Seems crazy I've got that brand new food room and I'm demonstrating my kitchen, but it'd be good to carry your skills going, improve the skills that you learnt in Year 7 and adding to those skills. And the first dish in recipe book is a baked cheddar chicken. It's absolutely delicious. It's all crispy on top and golden brown and really moist chicken inside. If you're a vegetarian, I'm going to talk to you about you could make some baked cheddar vegetables. And you can do a vegan alternative as well to this. The second video I'm going to attach as well is also, I'm not going to do it on this video, but it's a fresh coleslaw, a really delicious fresh coleslaw that goes with this, because there is, and it adds extra fibre and fruit and vegetables to that dish, because there is fruit in there, some sliced apple in there, and it's a nice light coleslaw because I use a bit of yoghurt in there and less mayonnaise, and I say a bit of apple to sweeten it up. So I hope you watch the other video as well, so you can see how I make fresh coleslaw and display your dishes like that. But so I'm going to make the chicken today, so I'm going to put this to one side. So all the ingredients you need are in the workbook, but first of all, obviously what I did was wash my hands before I touched that food, and I want you to make sure you washed your hands as well, and that's using hot soapy water. So you clean the backs of the hands, the wrists, in between your fingers, keeping everything nice and clean, making sure your worktop's clean, your equipment's clean, your ingredients weighed out. They need to be weighed out, please, for more accuracy. And you've also preheated your oven. So in the recipe books it says to turn the oven on to 200 degrees Celsius, that's gas mark 6. You need to preheat your oven because you need that reaction as soon as the chicken goes in. You need it to start cooking. If you put stuff in there, either in a warm oven or you turn the oven on and put something in, you're going to have a slow rise in temperature and heat it up. That's not really good when you're dealing with a high risk item like chicken. You need to get it in the oven straight away and kill that food poisoning bacteria that we know is in raw chicken, called Campylobacter. We've also got salmonella in there, and that intense heat will kill that bacteria straight away. If it's warm, it's going to just work slowly, and it just might not kill it all. So preheat oven, really important. Have all your equipment ready so it's all good to go, which I've done. And the first thing, there is various toppings on the chicken. The first topping is some flour. So you need to get yourself 75 grams of flour and put it in a bowl like this, or it could be in on a plate, which it says in the recipe books. I need to get some salt and pepper in there. Now it says a quarter of a teaspoon, or I just say it's like 3 turns of the pepper mill. Or you could measure it out by a teaspoon, and 3. Don't eat too much salt because we're going to have salt in the bread and we're going to have salt in the cheeses. So you can have as much pepper as you like in there. That's the first topping, just some seasoned flour. Really, really simple. Okay, so I'm just going to put that over there, my seasoned flour. The second one is to make a sort of creamy eggy topping that's going to go the second topping after the bread. It's going to go flour, egg, and then some breadcrumbs. But not just an egg. Like when we were in Year 7, we made chicken nuggets. We just used beaten egg. We're actually going to use, we're going to enrich the egg by putting some garlic in there and some sour cream. So first thing I want to do is to melt the butter. So I've got 25 grams of butter in my bowl here. We need to use a sort of bowl you can put in the microwave, which is not metal. That's going to take about 30 seconds to melt. I want it to be completely melted, not soft, so completely runny, no lumps in it at all. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to get my garlic ready. The recipe is 2 cloves of garlic, which I've got here, quite big cloves of garlic. That's obviously the bulb when they're all together, so you just want to break off 2 of those cloves. And now we're going to chop the garlic. Now, if you remember from Year 7, we made soup and stir fry, and hopefully you'll be still doing your garlic at home. If you put the knife on top, you don't want it like that. That would be really dangerous. Knife on top, and just put your body weight on it and flatten that clove down. That's my butter melted now. I'll just double check, it doesn't need any longer. That's melted, that's beautiful. And flatten those down like that. And then I'm going to take off the non-rooted end. Sorry, the blunt end of the garlic clove. I'm thinking about onions. You've got the pointed end and the blunt end. Just take off that blunt end. It just helps the skin to peel off really easily. That's why we squashed it down. It helps that just skin peel back, and taking off the one end as well, you can peel that skin back. And we're going to cross chop it. If you remember these terms from Year 7, you might do it already at home, and you put that in the bin, get it out of the way. We don't want any garlic peeling here like onion skin. Not very nice in this dish, no, not very nice to eat. So we're just going to roughly chop it first of all, and then I'm going to go in with cross chopping. So hand on the top of the knife, and you chop it round like that. This is what you use for ginger, for garlic, for herbs. You cross chop it, and you want it nice and fine there. And you just every now and then just clean your knife, just be really careful. We don't want to do that, we're doing it like that. and scrape it back into the middle. And we want this quite fine. Nobody wants a big chunk of garlic in their chicken. It's a lovely flavour. The other way you can do it, some people do it, they put a little bit of salt on it, a little bit of rock salt, and you can squash it down like that. And the rock salt is a sort of abrasive and helps to make it go into a little bit of paste as well. But I'm just going to cross chop mine. Show you that way today. Scraping it all back in there. So it's all in the middle, so otherwise you've got it all over the board. And you just keep on going so it's nice and chopped. Just finely chopped like that. And clean the knife. And now we're on to the next step, which is in a bowl. We're going to start getting all our ingredients together. So I've got my melted butter. So I'm going to get a separate bowl now to put my eggy, in fact I'm going to use this bowl, it's going to be easier, same as my bread. I'm going to crack my egg in there. So when you're cracking eggs, I always say, now you could tap on the side of the bowl, but if you want it to be a little bit cleaner, you actually just use a knife and then put it over the bowl, like that. You won't get the egg white running down the sides of the bowl. Remember, eggshell straight in the bin. Then I'm just going to use a fork. I'm just going to break up that egg. And in with the egg, I'm going to add that melted butter. Mix that through. So enriching the egg, making that egg really nice and making these spills, clean it up. Make it all buttery flavour, buttery egg. And also in there, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of milk. I'm going to add that in there. I'm also going to put in my chopped garlic. I'm going to scrape off the board, like that. Put that in as well. Stir that through. And the last ingredient is some sour cream, and it's 80 mils of sour cream. So have a look at your tub. How much does it have in the tub? This is 150 mils, so it's roughly half a tub of sour cream going in there as well. So stir that through. And that's all the ingredients in there for the eggy topping, the second topping for the chicken. Just make sure it's all beaten through so that everybody's going to get a little bit of that garlic, and the cream is mixed in with the butter and the milk and the egg. That's lovely, okay. It doesn't look very appetising, but it tastes delicious once it's cooked. We're not going to eat this raw. Okay, so let's put that to one side. So I've got my second topping. The next one is going to be the breadcrumbs. Now breadcrumbs, the recipe it says wholemeal bread, which is better for you because it's got some of the whole grain in there, so it's going to have more fibre to your diet. If you've only got white bread, you can use white bread as well. Now you need to get this into breadcrumbs. Now if you haven't got a food processor like I'm using here, then it's going to be a bit trickier. You could buy breadcrumbs in the shops, but try and get the natural coloured ones that are not dyed. Some of them you get in the shops are really like golden, and you can still use them, but you can get more natural coloured bread, because all panko breadcrumbs are really nice as well. You can find those in shops, or you can use white bread. If you're using unsliced loaf, you can actually grate it on a cheese grater using the big holes on the cheese grater. You could do that as well, but I would say try and if you haven't got a food processor, to try and get breadcrumbs that are already done. So I'm going to now just put my breadcrumbs in the process. It's going to be a bit noisy. Just break it up. And when we've got these settings, this is like the school one. We've got the different settings on here. We've got the pulse setting, which you have to hold on. Well, how have I switched it on? The pulse setting. Or you've got the fast or very fast. I'm going for very fast. And now we're going to mix that with, so we're going to another bowl to put that in. Here we go, here's my other bowl. In this bowl here, I'm going to put my breadcrumbs. Oh, actually, what I didn't do is, for the last few minutes, I'm actually going to add the cornflakes. Now, cornflakes are going to give it extra crunch, which is delicious in this dish. You could put some people put crushed crisp in, crushed Doritos. I'm going to put, it's equivalent to one of those little mini packets, actually. I think in the recipe it says, how much cornflakes is it? 25 grams, which is equivalent on a little packet like that. And the lid going on. And then I'm going to put that in a bowl, because it's easier to get to bread the chicken when it's in a bowl. So I put my breadcrumbs in there. I'm going to move my processor away. And also in here is going to have a teaspoon of mixed herbs. a teaspoon of mixed herbs in there. That's just going to add some extra flavour in there. What it's also going to have is some grated cheese. So I'm going to get my white board. It doesn't matter if you haven't got coloured boards, that's absolutely fine. But on the board, I'm going to grate the cheese. I'm going to have some cheddar cheese in there and some parmesan. So you could do a vegan alternative with this as well. I think I would just use maybe for the topping just some soya milk then. And you can get soya cream as well. For the obviously you can't use the egg, and you can get soya cheese now, or different sort of vegan cheese, and you can use vegetables for this. Vegetarians, you could do this with halloumi as well. I've had students do this for halloumi. I've done breaded vegetables. You could do any sort of vegetables really. I did sweet potatoes. It could be potato. It could be peppers, parsnips. Sort of quite firmish vegetables like that. So carry on doing your cheese. And I'm now going to do my parmesan as well. Put cheese, use the big side of your grater. These ones, if you've got grater like this, it gets trapped in your fingers. And the parmesan you want on the little side, unless you've got a parmesan grater on the little side of your grater. Just get that cheese grater, don't grate our fingers. And those are going in with the cheese as well. So we're going to get cheesy breadcrumbs, delicious cheesy breadcrumbs. Like that. So in here, breadcrumbs, cornflakes, herbs, and your 2 cheeses, and just mix those through so everybody's going to get a nice coating of these lovely breadcrumbs on top. So now I have got my 3 fillings. I'm just going to wash my hands before I move on to the next job, which is going to be the chicken. Now we're going to flatten the chicken. Now if you haven't got a red board at home like the white ones I had, don't worry, as long as your chopping boards are clean, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to have a little tidy up here. Got some crumbs everywhere, tidy up as you go along. Show people at home all the skills that we learned in year 7. And I'm now going to flatten my chicken. Now, chicken breast. Now you could just, if you haven't got somebody who's a rolling pin this, if you haven't got a rolling pin, or you don't have to, flatten the chicken. By flattening the chicken, so I'm going to show you, I'm going to put a piece of paper down first. Then I'm going to get one of my chicken breasts and put it down. I'm going to get the other piece of paper and put it on top. And I'm going to flatten my chicken. So I just need to wash my hands first of all, because I've touched that chicken. Flatten the chicken with a rolling pin. It's the only thing that's going to do it really. If you haven't got a rolling pin, just do the chicken breasts as they are. So if you flatten them like this, it's going to get a little slippy. By flattening them, you're making them bigger, which looks better. Also, it's going to cook quicker in the oven, and it fills the plate more. And also, it tenderises it slightly, which means it makes it nicer to eat. When you'll take your paper off, that's slightly bigger as well, or much bigger, actually not slightly big, it's much bigger. So I'm going to do one at a time, and so I've done, just do one at a time and put it on the tray. Do all your flattening before you start your coating. Next piece of chicken on top, a rolling pin, a bit slippy. Don't go too bad, it will fly across the kitchen. It's just flattening it without destroying it, and without it flying across the kitchen. Makes it quick, it's quicker to cook then. There we go. So I'm going to get rid of these bits of paper now. I'm going to get rid of my board. Don't want that near the kitchen. I'm going to get rid of this in a bit as well. And I'm going to wash my hands because I've handled more chicken. I've got hot soapy water here, and I'm going to dry them. So what I've got now, I've got my 2 flattened chicken breasts. So now I'm going to coat them. So I'm going to get the ingredients in the order that I want them. It's going to go flour first, then egg, then it's going to go breadcrumbs. So get everything in order. Coating. So that's all you've got out is your toppings. And you take your first bit of chicken, you pick it up, and you're going to dip it in the flour first. So it's nice and coated all over. So this is what you could do with vegetables. You could do it with fish, you could do it with pork. Into the lovely egg mixture, the garlicky, buttery egg mixture. Then into those breadcrumbs. Now try and use your other hand now, because that hand, this right hand, is all eggy, and turn it over the breadcrumbs so it's coated all over. Squash it down in there. Now I'm only doing 2 chicken breasts now, just for speed. So I'm just going to show you again. The flour. But please check out the next video where I make the coleslaw to go with this, because it just goes really nicely with this. Some of the coleslaw with this sort of rich, cheesy chicken. Then into the breadcrumbs, turning it over. Coating it all over. It's called panéing in the culinary terms, because pané is French for bread, isn't it? But we've got delicious bread, we've got cheesy, and you can always then sprinkle a little bit over the top again like that. Okay. Now those are going to go in the oven for 35 minutes. until they're nice and crispy and cooked all the way through. I haven't got my oven, it's a bit noisy because the oven on. So they go into the oven 35 minutes. I need to check they're cooked all the way through by cutting them in half and making sure they're cooked all the way through, it's white all the way through on one of them. Now in school we've got probes where we put the probe in to see if it's 75 degrees. If it's 75, then we know all the bacteria has been killed. The other thing you could do, I'm just going to show the green board now, you could also do some sweet potato if you're vegetarian, or you just want to use up the bits you've got left over. If you cut some slices of sweet potato, you can also dip those in there. So this is a vegetarian alternative as well. Bitting it in the egg, into the breadcrumbs, and putting that on your tray as well. I'm going to cook those with the chicken. If you've got any leftovers, or you want to do a vegetarian alternative, if you've got vegetarians in your family, let's say you could do this with fish, you could do it with pork, you could do it with turkey, turkey breast as well, would be really nice. So those are going to go into the oven, just washing my hands in between all that time, making sure that's stopping that cross-contamination. I'm just going to move these out of the way. So when it comes after 35 minutes, it should be golden brown and crispy, but you just it might be golden brown, still not be cooked in the middle. So please check, make sure it's cooked all the way through. Don't want to give your family food poisoning. Then I'd like to have a go at making the coleslaw if you can, or maybe you can make something else to serve this with. Could serve rice or couscous or some jacket wedges or jacket potatoes, some new potatoes with it. But actually it's quite big with the breadcrumbs on it and a nice salad. You don't really need anything else. So I'm looking forward to seeing your videos on Satchel 1. So your pictures on Satchel 1 of your delicious baked cheddar chicken, and possibly how you've adapted it. Maybe you could put a bit of chilli in the breadcrumbs if you want to spice it up a little bit curry powder. Have you changed it? How have you plated it? I'd love to see your pictures, guys. Okay, so bye for now.